The story you'll see first right here on CNN, but it's already making huge waves here in Washington. For the first time, you're going to hear from a suspect in September's deadly attack on a U.S. compound in Benghazi, Libya, the attack that killed the United States Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans. The man is not in jail. He's walking around freely. U.S. authorities haven't been able to catch up with him, but CNN's Arwa Damon did. When that news hit Capitol Hill today, there was sharp reaction.
News out today that CNN was able to go in and talk to one of the suspect terrorists. How come the military hasn't been able to get after them and capture or kill these people? How come the FBI isn't doing this? And yet CNN is.
CNN's chief national correspondent John King is standing by with more on what's going on Capitol Hill. The reaction, our senior international correspondent Arwa Damon is in Cairo right now. Arwa, I want to play part of your report about meeting this man in Benghazi.
U.S. officials have often suggested that they would be interested in speaking to a man named Ahmed Abu Khatala about the events the night of the attack. He's really not that difficult to find.
We met with Ahmed Abu Khatala in public at the coffee shop of a well-known hotel here in Benghazi for around 2 hours. He seemed to be confident, his demeanor most certainly not that of a man who believed that he was going to be detained or targeted anytime soon. And he agreed to let us film audio but not video of our conversation.
هل في حدا من الجهة الليبية أو مثلا من الجهة الأمريكية جربوا يتواصلوا معك؟ أبدا. يعني ما في ولا مسؤول ليبي ولا مسؤول أمريكي جرب يتواصل معك ويقول لك؟
فريق التحقيق اللي جاء بنغازي ما حاولوش حتى محاولة اتصال.
الفريق FBI يعني.
Arwa's joining us now. Arwa, you mentioned it wasn't very hard to find this guy. Well, tell our viewers, how easy was it?
Very easy, Wolf. This is, you saw in that report, is not a man who is in hiding. He showed up at the interview and he was being escorted by, or part of his entourage were around half a dozen members of one of the smaller Islamist units that are in fact part of the Libyan security forces. Now, we were the first television outlet to sit down with him, but he has given interviews to print media in the past as well. He also says that he has very close relations with commanders within the Libyan security forces, so they most certainly know how to get a hold of him. And Wolf said that if the Americans reached out to him, he would be willing to, in fact, sit down with them, not be interrogated by them, he was quick to emphasize, but he would be open to having a conversation similar to the one that we had, Wolf.
I know you sat down with him, what, for 2 hours or so. What else did he tell you?
Well, he was going through the details of what he witnessed that night, and he did get a bit agitated in some instances when we were pressing him for specific details, accusing us of wanting to interrogate him. And he said he arrived on scene after the attack took place at the request of one of the Libyan commanders who was there, that he saw men carrying rocket-propelled grenades, medium guns, other types of weapons, but because of the intensity of the gunfire, he was forced to stay on the perimeter of the compound. He claims that when he finally entered, he says for only a brief period of time, he did not see any buildings on fire, but he says that everyone had evacuated. So his narrative is at times contradictory. It was a very long, rambling interview, but some intelligence experts, Wolf, say that the Americans are looking in the wrong direction when it comes to Abu Khatala, that they really need to broaden their horizons, look outside of the box when it comes to really hunting down who is responsible for that Benghazi attack. But it still begs the question, here is a man who, if not directly involved in what took place, is at the very least a key witness. Why has no one reached out to him yet?
Good question. Let's dig on that. Arwa Damon, one of our courageous journalists, thanks very much. Let's bring